It's really about belonging. It's about coming out of hiding and having a place, a home. It's about using the gifts God has given us, all the while being surrounded by people who care. It's a really powerful thing, and it's changing my life.
Huge part of kind of, I don't want to say a rebirth, but it is kind of a rebirth for me because, even my coworkers have seen a difference, not because of anything I've done. They can just tell that, something's changed, that I'm not the old person that I was a year ago.
God, the church, and volunteering has completely changed my life. I would have never thought from the person I was when I came to the person I am now, greeting, volunteering, just being the heart of the church, being the arms of God, and loving on the people that come in, that I was the same as the wounded individual that walked through those doors.
What I've found with volunteering my time with New Life, with the design team and with the graphics team and the creative team, it's interesting how it's turned out to be not so scary, not so time-consuming, not so dreaded. It's not real. I wouldn't even call it work. When I sit down to work on a new project, it's the time I'm spending that time with the Lord. And I'm hearing what He's trying to say to me from a creative standpoint, and I'm putting those thoughts and those words onto paper and onto the screen. And I think it's almost therapeutic. It's almost it's a spiritual experience. To some, I know that sounds cliche, but that really it's what it is. It's the way creative people sometimes worship or express themselves to the Lord. And I think that's what I found. It may seem like a lot of work, it may seem daunting, it may seem like a big commitment to your time, but at the end of the day, I think that you get so much out of it, not recognition, you're not doing it for recognition, but working with the creative team, I'm surrounded by people who are super creative, and I'm surrounded by people who have the same vision, and we're all working towards the same goal with New Life Church. And I think that being around those people, being around that creative environment is so rewarding. It doesn't feel like I'm volunteering my time in vain. It feels like we're working towards something.
I've gone to church here for years, but never consistently. I was always 1 foot in the door and 1 foot out, always strategically planning my escape route if it ever got to be too much for me. But deep down, I've always known that God has me here for a reason. I just never really felt a sense of belonging. I never really felt like I had a place or a reason to be here. Photography is something that I'm very passionate about. In fact, God has used photography to really grow me in many different areas of my life. One day, Pastor Steve came up to me on Sunday morning before church and said to me, "Why don't you bring your camera with you on Sunday sometime and take some pictures?" And that simple invitation ignited something in me. It was like a light bulb kind of thing. Here's something that I can do to contribute, something that I can do to give to the church. It was a really powerful thing. And ever since then, it's grown into something already much bigger in my life than I could have ever imagined. It's placed me in situations where I'm surrounded by people, and I'm getting to know the people here at New Life, and I'm connecting with others on projects and creating friendships, and I'm doing things that I never thought I would ever see myself doing. Being a volunteer is so much bigger than just a job on Sunday morning. It's about plugging in and having something that I can do to contribute, something that I can give, something that I'm passionate about doing and that I enjoy doing. This whole thing has literally changed my whole perspective of church. Going from dreading Sunday mornings and feeling so troubled about that for years to looking forward to each Sunday. Each time I look through my lens at the things God is doing here, it amazes me, it connects me, and it grows me.
When I first came to New Life, I came from another church where I was very quiet and shy and I didn't really fit in, but my spirit was hungry, and so I was searching. And I came to the church due to some recommendations, and I finally wound up here after a year of recommendations. And I was sitting in the sanctuary through a sermon about no compromising. And at the end of the sermon, Pastor Steve had an altar call of no compromise. And I felt the Lord tugging on my heart and telling me it was time. So I got up and I went for prayer. And at the time, I told Pastor Steve laughingly that I was the queen of compromise. And at the time, he prayed with me. And from that moment on, I knew that God had done something different in my life. And I felt loved, and I no longer felt intimidated. In that no compromise prayer, I found myself rearranging my schedule to fit into New Life activities. In the time I sat in the sanctuary quiet and observing, I recognized some needs in the church. I recognized that our worship team and our other volunteers and workers were giving out all that they could. They were here many hours in the mornings and into late afternoon, sometimes without any meals. So coming from a hospitality standpoint, where I had cooked in restaurants for years, I took it upon myself to start bringing gifts of cakes and breads every Sunday morning. At the time, I was arriving early, and I was able to be in the lobby for several hours just talking to and greeting people as they came in. Being in the lobby, I started to recognize people coming in that were broken, like I was when I first came. And I wanted to help heal them, so I would embrace them, and I would hug them, and I would let them know that I really did care, and I really did want to see them here every week. So following up, of course, the Lord pre-plans everything, came an altar call for volunteers. So I felt led to be a greeter, as I felt I already was a greeter. And at that time, I felt like the Lord was speaking that it wasn't my arms that was embracing, it was His. And that I would be a vessel for Him, and that it was His love that I was giving. And that made it easy for me, because I wasn't a person to give love, but now I am.